Everywhere you look, it seems that somebody's got a course to sell you on how to start a business or has some brilliant solution to get you rolling and going on your new business. And that all you need to do is hustle a bit harder and get your side gig going. And that's how you start a business in their minds. But I don't think that's right. Tune in today to hear more. And welcome back to the Murdy Creative Co podcast. I'm your host, Colin Murdy, and today's topic is how to start a business that isn't a scam. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who supported the company so far. If you haven't got a chance, go check us out on the web at murdycreative.co. That's MURDY creative.co, or you can check us out on all of our social medias to get more amazing photos that we post. Happy belated St. Patrick's Day to those of you who celebrate such revelry. And I really appreciate all of those of you who have been following up on last week's episode about the rebellion in AI, and that actually was a follow-up to an email that had gone out the prior Friday. And I've gotten a ton of response, a ton of follow-up from people who've had thoughts on my attitudes towards AI. I had one guy actually give us a phone call, and to that gentleman, if you're listening, thank you. That was a very fun phone call for me, quite rewarding. And he had the perfect analogy. He said it's like the people in the French Revolution clapping at the invention of the guillotine. Man, that goes so deep as a penetrating metaphor, but it is a interesting topic. So thank you to all of you who've participated in that conversation, and obviously, it's going to go forward. My pastor reached out to me on Sunday when we were talking, and he mentioned that he wants to get me on a panel with someone who's I don't know the details exactly, but a proponent of AI or someone who works in AI, and I am really looking forward to that conversation, and obviously I will share that information when that happens. But it's a complicated conversation, and it actually spiraled into this particular topic because, as I mentioned in the email from the behind the scenes last two weeks ago, the world of influencing when it comes to starting a business, the world of hustle culture has always got these clever business ideas for you to make money passively, or for you to start your business and get it rolling without any effort. And AI has become one of the new tricks, tools that they recommend using. Anything from AI customer service to AI logistics to AI assistance, scheduling, AI's cold calling and setting up meetings for you. The world of AI seems to be endlessly terrible, but that got me thinking about this. It got me thinking about starting a business, and it got me thinking about starting the Murdy Creative Company, and my attitude towards what businesses constitute a scam. And hot take, it's a lot more than we like to think there are. Now, to be completely honest, and I think this is an important point to make, I am a manufacturing elitist. So a lot of my opinions, I think, will come off a little bit harsh to some of you out there who may work in industries that I'm going to criticize now. And I want to make it very clear. I'm not talking about all people who work in these industries. And obviously, many of these industries that exist, they get paid rather well. So they obviously have to be providing something. Otherwise, how would they get that far? So I don't mean to diminish all businesses that aren't manufacturing, but I'm a manufacturing supremacist because I truly believe that the real value in an economy comes from someone taking a raw material and converting it into a useful good. Now, Rory Sutherland obviously talks about that the person who cleans the floor in the restaurant and makes it clean is just as important as the cook, because the eating experience, the dining experience, is a holistic experience of all of those factors. And so Rory would reasonably argue that marketing is just as important to the perception of the customer of the product as the product is itself. And he's technically probably right in a very human way, but I mean, I just don't like that. I'm a manufacturing person. I mean, obviously, we spend a lot of time marketing the product. A lot of time, I spend a lot of time making videos to advertise the product, and I very much am a proponent of marketing. I went to school for marketing. That was my undergrad degree. But at the same time, I think a lot of the waste in our economy comes from the fact that manufacturers genuinely take a raw material and convert it into something more useful than the raw material. And then there's about 50 steps in between them and the final customer. And everybody during those 50 steps needs their cut of the pie. And a lot of scam businesses are, in my mind, middlemen. Now, there are many of these people I have met. Some of them I have worked with. There are variations on this theme in every variety, but they are people who buy products from one person and sell it to another person. And that's most of what the modern business world is, unfortunately. Whether it's companies selling on Amazon, buying from an Alibaba manufacturer, who, by the way, Alibaba manufacturers aren't actually manufacturers. They are exactly the same way that when you buy from somebody on Amazon, you're not buying from the manufacturer. They're not, on Alibaba, they're not selling you directly from the manufacturer. They are some other company buying from the manufacturer most of the time. So if there's a real manufacturer somewhere like China, they have somebody who sells on Alibaba for them. An American buys from Alibaba and sells it on Amazon to another American, and everybody gets a cut along that way. Right? By the way, this is the fundamentals of the Temu business model. They also have a couple of messy tactics that they use to get around import-export tariffs using the de minimis rules, but that's beside the point. So for me, the manufacturers are the ones that really make the value, and everybody in the middle takes their own slice and adds their upcharges, and to some extent, there is some of that that's necessary. For example, bulk breaking is a value added to most customers. And by bulk breaking, I mean buying in large quantities, very large quantities from the manufacturer, holding and warehousing those quantities, breaking them into smaller quantities, and then selling them to a third party, to the final customer, right? Now, this bulk breaking has been around since the dawn of manufacturing. It's a lot easier for me to make 1,000 journals in a row and then sell them to a bulk breaker than it would be for me to make 1,000 individual journals for individual customers, right? Now, manufacturers especially like to be able to schedule in those big orders because it allows the manufacturing plant to optimize its productivity and work around the idea that there's not very much downtime. Now, with our business, there's a lot of downtime between days, between orders, between things, and that works well for our industry and our business. So I am willing to admit that I'm coming at this from a very narrow perspective. But all that being said, the world that you see around you of hustle bro culture, of influencers who are encouraging you to start your side hustle, they are preying upon most people's discontent with their current financial situation. But the reality of most people's current financial situation is that it is a complicated and nuanced result of an ever-worsening economy. And that ever-worsening economy has been doing this for 20 years. Now, the finance people would like to say, well, we've been continuing to grow. The S&P 500 has been continuing to grow. The overall GDP is going to be... And yeah, I mean, I'm sure from a financial perspective, you could argue that everything is getting more prosperous. But does it feel like that to you? Because what it feels like to me is that we are hollowing out all of the brands, making them worse and worse products, and calling that sales, that benefit, as a financial one, calling that progress. And I think that's the opposite of progress. In fact, there's a lot of argument that the real growth that the country has experienced, that the world has experienced over the last 50 years, has been almost exclusively financially driven. And what I mean by that is it's finance people hollowing out brands and building the Jenga tower taller. But I don't think that the unfortunate reality of our economic situation is going to change without a change in mindset. And money is what got us in this place. And unfortunately, the way out of it is going to be the opposite. So starting a business to make more money is a terrible plan. So for those of you looking to start a business, if your motivation is to make more money, yeah, don't do that. Go find a job that makes more money. It's not a good job to start a business that makes more money. The goal can't be money. It's a terrible goal. And not only is it a terrible goal, it leads to making businesses that are furthering the problem rather than solving the problem. And oh, by the way, at the end, you won't make more money, right? Being a small business owner means you spend most of your time losing money. The Murdy Creative Company over the last 7 years has lost money most years. But I don't do it for the money, right? That's not why we're in this business. I do it because I think we should make brilliantly high quality, wonderful products for people, and that people should be able to buy those products. And that should be something that can afford, right? So don't start a business to make more money. That's a terrible reason to start a business. However, there are ways to start a business that aren't. And I think, by the way, most of the scam businesses are built on the premise of making money easy. Easy money should always, always concern you. If you're ever making money that seems like it's really easy to make, there's a problem. There's a problem somewhere in the process. And if you don't really know where the problem is, if you can't stand up and name where the problem is, why the money's easy, it's probably because there's someone committing a crime and you're just not aware of it. Easy money is fake. There is no such thing as easy money. And there's a lot of technical reasons why that's true, but just trust me. Every time you make a dollar, it should be hard to make. So, how do you start a business that isn't a scam? Well, in my opinion, the best way to start a business that isn't a scam is to try to figure out a product that you can make that people need or people want that's very, very high quality. It's the very best version of that product. And I've made my point clear on why I think that is the case in the past in the podcast. And the short version is because we're called by God to do our absolute best work all the time. So that's a good enough reason for me. Now, you have to acknowledge that there may be limitations in the beginning to what you can accomplish, right? When I started this company, the very first Murdy Creative Co products were slim cut binders in one color, and I hand cut them in my house, in the apartment that we rented, a one-bedroom apartment that we rented. I hand cut them, and I was never really quite happy with the product because I thought it could be better. And so I went to our leather supplier, who I was buying from, which wasn't selling me Made in America leather at the time because I hadn't really made it that far in my process. But I could afford it, and it was a good product, and it was good leather for what it was. So I was buying the best leather I could possibly buy at the time. And I went to them and I said, I'd like to make these with a die so that it's pristine, it's perfect, and it's accurately cut every time. And they said, okay, we can manage that. And so then the next step for me was buying the cut product from the finished product, or at least I should say the cut leather from the supplier that was selling me the leather. And I was adding the screws and the bolts and the paper, and I was selling them on Amazon, right? That was the beginning of the company. And every step from that point forward has been the result of a question of how can I make this better? How can I make the leather better? Well, that involved us going directly to the tannery and working on buying custom crafted leather for us. But that had a minimum order requirement, right? We had to buy a specific amount of leather to do that, obviously. Well, at the time when we first looked at that, it was a pretty big commitment for us. It was months worth of leather. And that was going to be a pretty big financial outlay at a time when we didn't really have access to capital. So it was a goal in the initial time, right? It was, okay, I now know where I want to go with this leather, but I have to get us to this size, right? So that pushed me to improve my marketing efforts and to try to figure out smarter ways to get the product in front of people's eyes and to expand the product line, to build out products that used other leather, that use the same leather, but in other ways, right? That's what led to the wide cut and lots of the other products that have come around since then. Eventually it moved into, well, we were having a lot of waste because the people that were cutting our leather weren't cutting them very well. And the product that they were giving us wasn't particularly good. Well, that's not going to work. So we decided to bring cutting in-house. Well, that was expensive and time-consuming and difficult. Where I'm going with it is this. If you want to start a business that isn't a scam, your first step has to be your product. You have to come up with a product that people actually want. Something that people need is always a better product. But to put it bluntly, most of the products that people need already exist in the market with pretty established competitors, right? That is the side effect of living in the unbelievable amount of prosperity that we live in right now. Virtually all of the things that you need to live, to enjoy life, to have a basic, happy life, you can buy incredibly cheaply because everything that you need has an enormous glut of competitors who are all working very hard. So trying to find a product in a a world where people need it is hard. But you can find products that people want but can't buy. In fact, there's quite a few of those because human want is unlimited. We always want more, right? So finding a product that people might want, you can do that, right? For me, it was a leather journal. And the reason why I started that product is because I couldn't buy one that I liked. I looked all over the market for leather journals. I found a lot of leather journals. None of them were right. None of them had what I wanted. None of them were quite that quality that I was after. So, being a business student, I smelled opportunity and thought to myself, I can do better than any of these journals. And even though I don't know for sure that I can, I know that there must be a better way to make a journal because these aren't very good. And the good news for all of you looking to start a business nowadays is this. Because the financiers have hollowed out the businesses that were once great brands making quality products and have turned all of the products that you can buy today into garbage, well, there's a whole new world of making products that have already existed on the market for a while but don't have good quality options. That whole market exists, right? I desperately wish someone would go out and design and manufacture a vacuum cleaner that was actually good, that was built the old school way and built to last decades and decades and decades, built to be repaired when it broke. It was not made of some cheap garbage material that snapped off the second you tried to take it apart. Because the financiers have hollowed out famous brands of their quality, you can probably think of a time when you've been frustrated because of the lack of quality in a product that you've wanted to buy. And in fact, it may have gotten as bad as where you don't even realize how bad the quality is until you think about it, right? You may not realize how terrible the quality is. Now, I will give you, there are some companies that have continued to make very good quality products for a very long time. Almost all of them are privately owned, and almost all of them are not owned by private equity. So keep that in mind. And when private equity comes knocking to try to buy your business, tell them no, because it's not about money. It's a terrible way to run a business. It's about money. But anyway, to start, find a product that you want. Find a product that somebody else wants, that you are interested in, or find a product that you know should be better, could be made better, should be made better. And start by figuring out how you can manufacture it. Now, I will be the first to admit that in the beginning, it may involve you having to bring on a third party to help you make it. You may not have the equipment you need to build it, but you can do that. You can find someone else to help you start by manufacturing the product you want. If I were you, I would try to find someone in America. There's a lot of reasons why, and we can go into the reasons why, but the short answer is it'll be easier and better. It'll cost more, but that's not the point. You're going to be trying to make an expensive product anyway because you're making a high quality product. And once you find that manufacturer who can manufacture the product for you, really hold them to a high account when it comes to quality. If they give you something that's not good quality, go back to them and ask them to fix it. Go ask them to remake it. And realize that by doing that, you are requiring them and focusing them on the quality that you want. Now, you may say to yourself, well, it's hard to find companies that are in America that manufacture things. And the answer is it only seems hard because they're not usually very good about marketing their services. And that's true. And they should work on that. But in the meantime, Google is your friend. And I hate to say it, but this is exactly where AI can be helpful, right? Because AI is just advanced search engines. That's all it is. It's an advanced search engine. And so you can go to Google, you can go to any of the AI programs and say, find me manufacturers that specialize in aluminum casting, that specialize in plastic injection molding in the US. And it usually can find some for you, even if they're not particularly good at advertising, right? Because that's where it's useful. Reach out to them. They may have minimum order quantities that are higher than you want. Shop around, right? Find other suppliers. Get them to provide quotes. Finally, you'll get a sense of what it costs. Once you get the product nailed down, the design of the product to be the best it can be, your goal should be working on figuring out how to get that product in front of the eyes of other consumers. And that does involve marketing. And there are a lot of scam marketing companies out there. Anybody who's a scam market, let me put it this way. The easy way for you to tell if a marketing company is a scam is if they use the words 5x ROI in their emails to you, right? Any company that is advertising a specific boost to your return on investment guaranteed, that's a scam company, right? Now, I know there may be some marketing companies out there listening to this video, and you may say to yourself, well, I'm not a scam company, and I advertise like that in my emails. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Because as a business owner who actually knows what I'm talking about when I'm looking at my marketing thing, who's paid third-party marketing companies in the past, who's worked with good marketing people, advertising that you can boost my ROI is a guarantee that you don't know you can make, and I know for a fact you can't know you make it. So realistically, it's a lie. And if you say, well, we guarantee an improvement in revenue, what that really means is that you're going to try to take and say that we're making more revenue based off of your emails. But what it may really be is that you're working on taking credit for more sales, even though you haven't generated more sales, because the ability to track the source of advertising success is almost impossible, even in a digital world like today, for all of the many reasons we've talked about in the past on this podcast. So do the marketing yourself. And you may say to yourself, well, I'm not very good at marketing. Well, the answer is yeah, you are. You may not think you are, but you have to think about it in a specific way. You're promoting your product. Well, if you came up with a product because you saw that there was something that you wanted that you couldn't solve with the products that existed on the market, and there was a better product to be made, or you saw a product that was made, like that all of these products were garbage and you wanted to make a better one, and you went out and you made a better one, better version of that product. That's the story to tell. And we live in a world where you can go find all sorts of amazing videos on YouTube about how to set up your camera angles, set up your lighting. What camera can you use? How can you get the best video footage out of your iPhone? How do you get the best audio quality, right? Those videos are different than the scam videos because those videos are technical in videos about how to improve your skill, technically. And you can go get good at this. And you should go get good at this because you are the best person to sell your product, not anybody else. And eventually you should get yourself a website and you should work hard to improve that website to make it more beneficial, more informative. And then you need to promote your product. And you need to continue to emphasize how someday you're going to want to make that product yourself. And why does that matter? The reason why that matters is because until you're making that product yourself, you're not the manufacturer. You're buying it from somebody else. The Murdy Creative Company, we weren't the manufacturer of our product for a little while. That bothered me. We are the manufacturer of our product now. In fact, we manufacture almost every aspect of our product. And I am constantly looking for ways to manufacture more of it. Because the manufacturers who take the raw materials to the final goods, those are the people that really generate the value. And everybody else just mooches off their success. I know that's a hot take, and I can just hear the comments disagree. Well, if without the marketing people, how in the world would you find it? Then we'd have this. Anyway, I get it. I know that not all marketing is a scam. I know that not all middlemen are scams. I know that they provide a service. They're an enormous aspect of business. There's a ton of them now. Obviously, they have to be providing some value to the customers. I get it. I just hate them because they're leeches that suck off my good work and try to make it so that it doesn't make as much money because they're trying to take from that. Or worse yet, they take a product that I have worked very hard to make a reasonable price, and they charge way more for it. And then people think it's too expensive. And the answer is it's partially because of the middlemen that you've put between you and me. Why do you think our Amazon products are more expensive than the ones you can buy on our website? It's because I owe Jeff Bezos 15% of whatever you buy off Amazon. Don't buy it from him. Don't buy it from there. Buy it from me. Anyway. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comment. I'm sure many of you, in fact, I'd be willing to bet that most of you don't work in manufacturing. So I believe many of you probably have strong opinions about how manufacturing isn't the only thing that generates revenue. I and my job also generate revenue, and you're probably right. So tell me all about it in the comments. Prove me wrong. If you're interested genuinely in starting a business, you have to ask yourself, what is your motivation? And you have to realize that if your motivation is money, it's wrong, and you need to fix that. You need to go back to, you need to do a little soul searching, some deep theological thinking to figure out how to improve that mentality, because the love of money is the root of all evil, period. The love of money is the root of all evil. That's not to say money is the root of all evil. The love of money. It should not be about the money. Anybody who's interested in buying our products that we make, feel free to check us out on our website, murdycreative.co. That's murdycreative.co. If you have questions, you can reach out to us via the contact form on the main page of our website, or you can give us a phone call or an email, 414-434-9001. You can call us or text us at that number. Leave a voicemail if you don't get a hold of us. We will call you back, 414-434-9001. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. If you have a review to leave us, particularly a good review, please do that at murdycreative.co/review. We love reading those. If for whatever reason you'd leave us a bad review, please, before you do, give us an opportunity to make things right. We will. We will refund you. We will return. We will do whatever it takes to make you happy. So just give us an opportunity to make you happy before you leave us a bad review. If you're going to go read our reviews, go to murdycreative.co/reviews with an S, and you can read all of our amazing reviews. If you'd like to get a custom engraved item, we have no minimum order quantities and no setup fees. It's a simple flat fee, normally about $15 per item, depending on how complicated and large your engraving is. And you can launch the customizer on the website with the little blue button that's under the Add to Cart logo, or Add to Cart button on the main page of the websites. The main product pages, I should say. If you do not see the blue Add Custom Logo Engraving button, it means it's not in our customizer yet. We can still make a custom engraving version of it. You just have to send us an email asking for a custom mockup and an order link, and please include the image that you'd want to get on the product at the time. That obviously helps us create custom mockups for you. Once you approve it, we'll send you a link. You can buy it. If you are looking for a bunch of items, we have bulk discounts that are built directly into the cart. All you need to do is mix and match to your heart's desire. It's only based off the total cart quantity, and it starts at an order of 5. So 5 items will get you that first tier of discounts, and it'll go up from there. So please, if you're looking for a custom engraved item for your business or for a whole bunch of people, for your Bible study or your theater troupe, we're happy to help. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and goodbye.